G'day and welcome back to Australia's best classic mini YouTube channel. On this episode, we are working on my 1974 Leyland Mini and we are getting the rear indicators working. Folks, welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. It is the start of December 2025 in which I'm filming this, and it is one stinker of a day. We have had well over 40 degrees today, so it is cooking in here. Now, we're going to be working on Grace, my 74 Leyland Mini. Today we're going to be working on why the front indicator works, but the rear one doesn't. Let's get straight into it. So as you can see, if I turn the indicator on, which is not actually going to work because I need to plug the battery in, give me 1 second. So, take two. As you can see, the left front indicator is on. We might not be able to see, but let's just have a quick little suss out down here. As you can see, the indicator is working. If we go now to the back of the vehicle, and as you can see, I do have my Christmas lights up and around behind me, the rear one does not work. We are going to be diagnosing as to why that doesn't work. Let's get straight into the episode and work this out.
G'day folks, Tomo here from Tomo's Tune-Ups. If you haven't already, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button to my channel. Not only will you be kept informed as to when I release new videos, but also it helps to grow my channel, my analytics, and most importantly, recommend videos to yourself and new subscribers.
Alright, so in the previous episode we've been working on Grace. We had gone ahead and welded in the new brackets for it and the support bracket for the tank strap. Now that we've got the tank out, it's going to make this much easier. And I did recognise this wasn't working when we did Rolston earlier this year. First thing I'm going to be doing is using a test light. A test light is a really good way to determine if there's power there. It's pretty easy. You can make your own using a wire, a couple of alligator clamps, a globe and some probes. Pretty straightforward. You can Google on how to do it. First thing we need to do is make sure that it works. So you may not be able to see because I've got so much stuff in the boot, so I do apologise, or the trunk, depending where you are in the world. First thing you want to be doing is making sure that your test light works. So apply it to positive and negative, and in our case, this one lights up. It says there's 12.3 volts. It'll actually tell you, I believe, green and red. Red means dead, green means earth. So you may not be able to see here either, but I did lay a bit of masking tape around the outside. I painted it, so there is a bit of a section that's kind of not looking overly pretty, but I'm not too fussed about it. Now what we need to be doing is using the test light to determine if we have any power at the indicator. The indicator is the top one. We're going to be following this wire here, which is this wire just there. So first thing we need to do is put it in the back and see if there is any power. So as you can see, there is nothing here whatsoever. So that tells me that there is no power at it. We're just going to disconnect that because sometimes you may find it might not have a good earth inside the tail light itself, and therefore it'll give an incorrect reading. So this comes directly from the front indicators or from the dash lights, should I say. And as you can see, there is still no power there whatsoever. That should be blinking. The reason why we check that first is it's super easy to overlook the globe. If the globe's all right, we want to make sure it's got power. If it doesn't have power, we then need to trace it back. Now the wire color for this one here is green with a red trace. What we want to be doing is looking at the wiring harness up inside here and just back probing one of the wires to see if we have any power there. If we don't, we have a likelihood of a break up in the roof somewhere, and that's not exactly what we want. So here I'm just going to poke through one of the bits of wire. This will help determine if it's at this end of the vehicle or if it's at the other end. Alright, so I've got an exposed wire there. Putting that on there and we are getting absolutely nothing. Middle of a donut. So that now tells me that there is a break in the harness between the rear tail light and the front of the vehicle. Let's get inside the car and let's try and work this out. Alright, so here we are inside the car. Tommy's tech tip is take your shoes off when you get inside your car. That way you don't destroy the carpet and bring anything from the outside into the car. Now, I know for a fact that when I rebuilt Grace many years ago, the wiring harness actually runs from the cluster across the front of the dash, up through here, and then in through the roof. Now, my thought here is there's probably a break between here and the back. If not, it's going to be a break between the back of the dash and the rear tail light. So in here is a bunch of different coloured wires. Unfortunately for me, I've actually insulated some of them, so I'm going to have to pull back some of the insulation on it and determine which is the wire that I need. Now, we did say it was green with a red trace, so what we're going to be doing is just sticking our head in here and having a little quick sticky beak to see if we can get the test lights to light up. So once again, find yourself a good earth. Make sure you can test it beforehand, that way you know you've got the good earth before you start. Last thing you want to be doing is chasing an electrical gremlin only to find out that you've got no good earth. That's where the problem lies. Now what I might actually do is just use the check strap as an earth. I think I just found it. It appears to be a broken wire down inside here. Let me just pull this back far enough and hopefully I can get this wire exposed. I can see now. Let's grab this from here and let's have a quick look and see what there is. So this is my earth down there on the check strap. So I'll just turn that torch on so you can see. That is a really good earth strap to go off. Alternatively, you can use the indicator, the ignition switch as a good earth. All right, so as you can see here, this little blue terminal, and also just down here, I did just see, there it is. It's actually just, the broken wire is just hiding down underneath here. Let's see if we can find it. Yeah, cool. All right, so that's it just there. So what we're gonna do, just for demonstration purposes, I'm gonna grab my test light and we are going to put it on the end here. Okay, oh, see that? There we go. That is our indicator circuit. That needs to be reapplied to there. So what I'm going to do, I don't know how much length I've got on that. I'm probably going to have to re-crimp that. See if I can get a bit extra length there. Pull that through and rejoin it. So let's do that and get that fixed. Now this is going to be super difficult to film, so I do apologise in advance if you can't exactly see what I'm doing. Essentially all I'm going to do is grab my wire cutters. I'm going to cut that to get rid of the old terminal. I'm going to grab this wire and strip that wire back so we can put a crimp connector on it. See if I can actually get a little bit of extra length out of here. Alright, not a great deal, but did manage to get that little bit of extra length. So I'm just going to use the wire strippers, strip it back. I do have two different terminals. We've got a male and a female, well insulated terminal, so once it's together it'll be fine. If I need to disconnect it for whatever reason down the track, I can. Now, I do just need to be mega careful with this because ideally we only want one shot. So that's just going to go in here. The reason why you only want one shot is you don't want to have to try and redo it, because if you clamp it in the wrong spot and it doesn't hold, you're then going to have to redo it. The wire just gets shorter and shorter, and before you know it, Bob's your auntie and you've done it wrong and it gets too short and doesn't work properly. So what I might actually do is I'm going to pull that wire back through if I can find it, and then we'll clamp it from underneath. All right, it's together. Give it a tug test. Yep, that's fine. Open that back up. Slide it up underneath here. Right, so that's one half of it done. And then, yeah, so we've got those two bits just there. Okay, strip that wire back as well. Oh, didn't do a very good job of cutting through there. Good thing about these pliers is you can adjust the length, the depth of it. The downside is you do have to make sure that you remove all the old crap that sits inside here. Alright, so we've got our male terminal now. Clamp it. Once again, give it a tug test. Connect the two together, and then we can go and test it at the back of the vehicle. Alright, so let's turn the indicator on. Alright, so we've got that going. Awesome. let's get out of here. All right, so we've got the front left indicator on. Come to the back, rear left is not working. Let's put my camera back in the stand, and then, hello, we can check it out as to what the issue is. That's right, we did have the wire disconnected at the back. So we get the 2 wires, plug it in, and hey presto, she's working. Hopefully you can see it from there. Well, if not, let's just come around here. Ta-da. All right, so that's it. All of that for a broken wire. Sometimes when you diagnose these sort of things, you really got to keep it at a simple level and not overcomplicate the circuit. Classic Minis are quite simple to work on, and in our case it was a really basic sort of fix. I do actually need a new globe by the look of this. It's starting to not blink properly and it's not as bright. They are pretty simple in terms of their overall mechanics and the way everything goes together and how they come apart. There's generally not a lot involved in it, and depending on your experience level, it can be challenging, but it can also be quite easy to try and rectify. A Haynes manual is going to give you the best option to be able to ensure that you can diagnose it correctly, especially if you have something like a workshop manual that has a wiring harness, a wiring diagram in there. So I'm not going to worry about boring you on how to refit the fuel tank. I think it's pretty straightforward. It just kind of slides in there and away you go. Tomo's tech tip though, when you put the fuel tank back in, apply some rubber grease or some Vaseline or some WD-40 around the seal here. That way as it goes in the neck, it doesn't just push the seal out, because it's going to be a pain in the neck, literally. And the fuel tank as well, it does have a foam gasket that goes between the body of the car and the tank, just to stop it vibrating, so make sure you have that fitted. Sometimes you do need more than one in there just to give it that little bit extra attention. You should be fine. I am also going to change the fuel filter on that, so essentially you don't have to remove the fuel tank to it. You can just simply clamp each of the lines. You can drain the fuel tank. It is probably an idea to if you don't have any clamps. Once it's drained, you then want to undo both clamps on either side, remove the old fuel filter, make sure you denote which way it goes as well. The last thing you want to do is pull it all apart and put the new fuel filter on backwards, because then you're going to find you're going to have restricted flow and all that sort of jazz. Put the new one back on, fit new clamps if you've got them, new hoses if you need them, put it all back together, let the fuel clamps off or refill it with fuel, and then before you go and drive the vehicle, make sure you put 5 litres of fuel in it. If you find that there are no leaks, fantastic, start up, run it, make sure there's no further leaks, go for a road test. It might just be 5-10 minutes around the block, that's fine, recheck it. If you see any signs of fuel leaks, make sure you rectify them. The last thing you want to do is have a leaking car with fuel and potentially burn it to the ground, because that's the last thing you want with the Classic Mini. Grace does have a bunch of things that we need to do, including this loose boot lid, which I need to rectify, because there is a missing bolt in here, which is really frustrating. But also, I do need to do a lot of other rust repairs. So I hope you're enjoying the season so far. It is just the start. We do have a lot of other things we need to do on Grace. So I hope you are taking care of yourself. You had yourself a great Christmas, and we'll catch you on the next episode of Tomo's Tune-Ups.